Directors, I wanted to welcome everybody and thank you. As our name indicates, we are the Holocaust Memorial Resource and Education Center, with education being a critical role. If you go and look at our mission statement online, our mission is to use the lessons of the Holocaust to create a world free from anti-Semitism and all forms of bigotry and prejudice. It is those lessons that are the essence of our organization to pass down to the next generations the atrocities that occurred and to try and make sure that those atrocities never occur again. And to do that, we are dependent on our partners in this room who are going to relay those lessons to the next generation. So once again, thank you all for being here this week. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ron. I can't tell you how appreciative we are that you all took this time out to come in. We're going to go through a few just kind of discussing norms, rule setting, and make sure this is here. If you have any questions, please engage. Please ask questions. It is the best way to get us all engaged. This year is going to be a little bit different because we're going to put you into groups and we're going to do a little bit of curriculum writing. So those who enjoy that, fantastic. Those of you who don't, it's going to be something new and fun because usually we just hand you some lessons, but we'd like to actually use some stories from individuals that are here, part of our Central Florida community. So we would like you to be involved this whole week. This whole week is going to center around women in the Holocaust. Let's see, and I'm going to click through. We'll see if my clicker works. And if not, let's see if that'll work. I'm going to give you our agenda for the week. So I think we had a really great week. Today, we're going to have author Heather McAdam. She's going to be joining us today. She is the author of The 999. The Extraordinary Young Women of the First Official Jewish Transport to Auschwitz. She is also a documentarian, and we'll be watching her film. I think this will be a great day. We're going to go through a few lessons. We're going to actually talk about how to use the 999, better ways that we can use the 999 and this testimony. For those of you who are here in person, I actually have some assets for you that are going to be on the right-hand side of your packet. There is a viewing document. Please pull out the viewing document. For those of you who are virtual, in the description for this session, there is a link that says activity log, and then there is a link to the packages that have the viewing document in it and the requirements. I'm going to go over that in just a minute. Tomorrow, we are going to have Cheryl Okayan from Yad Vashem will be joining us. We're really excited to have her. She's from Yad Vashem and Echoes and Reflections. She'll be joining us for the entire morning and be talking about women in resistance. She'll be talking about motherhood and the Holocaust. We'll also be talking tomorrow afternoon with Dr. Sarah Cushman. She'll be joining us and be talking about women's gendered experiences in Auschwitz. On Wednesday, we will be hearing from Dr. Tiara Masnick, who is going to talk about a little more about experiments that were happening in Ravensbrück, as well as Auschwitz experimentation on women. In the morning, we're going to hear from Claudine Kurtz, who is her family was a rescuer family, and she rescued a young Jewish girl named Anna and kept her hidden, and became Claudine's sister. And Claudine's going to share her family story about what they did and what their lives were like in France. On Thursday, Dr. Nikki Freeman we're going to go back. Thursday, Dr. Nikki Freeman's going to come. We had Nikki here last year. She is the education director at the Miami Holocaust Memorial. That's good. I'm glad you're here. And Nikki is going to talk about gender life, women's roles in DP camps. So, and in that afternoon, we will also be talking about, we'll be doing a curriculum sprint. So these will not be long activities, but we hope to actually make everything as engaging as possible. this morning will be as far as when you're watching the video. I would like you just kind of use the active listening guide, just to kind of like figure out how you can best use even snippets from the scenes when we actually start to play the movie. Go ahead, we'll do the next one. Okay, let's talk about norms and agreements. We're going to encounter some difficult topics and subjects this week. We're going to have some scenes from films. We're going to hear testimony that may evoke certain feelings. Please make sure that we are honoring all voices in the room, especially as you're having discussions with people. Give grace to yourself. If you need to step out for a second, if something is bothering you, if you feel you need a minute, you're more than welcome to take that time. And I want to make sure that we give you enough time to process after everything that we do. I know that some things we watch, I have been very guilty of sometimes having a session that's showing something very traumatic and difficult, and all of a sudden, let's go right to the next thing. I'm going to do my best to make sure that we are giving you time to process everything you hear today. I want you to share space as best you can. If someone tells you something, if someone talks to you about something that's personally that they're dealing with, please be open in your listening and your learning. Be curious, not judgmental. And also, for those of you who are online, credit required. For those of you who are online, one of the big things that I am a stickler on, please have your cameras on. There is nothing worse than putting someone in a breakout room who is by themselves. And we will have breakout sessions. Anyone ever you ever your students, you put them in a breakout session online and there's only one student who's online? That happened last year. I had teachers who were sending me pictures, screenshots of themselves online in a breakout room by themselves. I don't mind if you don't want to participate, but please make sure that that you realize this affects everybody, especially people who are really wanting to actively participate. And if we're all clear on that, and also my online folks, if you could please just put that in the chat that you acknowledge and accept this, because it was in the little checkbox when you registered. Yeah, and I do need to get a better clicker. Stipends. I know some of you were interested, and I have a lot of people asking me about the stipends, the books, and your in-service points and your credits. So the reason why I don't let everyone know anything until today is because the rules or what it says on the registration sheet is simple, but it's not. It says it's the first 50 who register and sign up. We get this money from the state. I am very particular about how I'm allowed to distribute this money, so we don't get reimbursed if everyone doesn't complete all the tasks that we assign throughout. So usually what I do is it's the first 50, but it's the first 50 who register who also complete all of the assignments, meaning you show up, that you participate, that you engage, that you, I think the pre-work assignment maybe should have taken 20 minutes, max, if anything. That's, again, if you're not interested in those things, I'd like you to participate no matter what, not for the $300. The $300 is technically really to help those who are traveling, who are actually losing some time, gas, basic expenses. It's not really meant to replace your week's salary. I'd love to be able to get that kind of money, and one day maybe we can, but we have to actually make sure that everyone shows up and participates as best as they can. However, if you didn't qualify for the stipend and the points, the stipend, maybe you qualify for the points, I'll be happy to actually issue something to your district for your professional development points for all the work you're doing this week. If you have any questions about this, please email us at education@holocaustedu.org, or feel free to see me in person or post something in the chat. But some of the things you must do, all the pre-work, anything that we assign, you also have to engage in each session. That's online in the chats, here in person. If we put you in a group, that you are actually cameras on, and that you are actively participating. I'm not grading papers. It's just for engagement, because this is super boring if I'm the only one talking. And I really want to make sure that you are all actively participating, just like you would. Remember when COVID happened and it said all your students went online? Those of you who remember that and remember how challenging that was, it's worse with teachers. And that is not an insult. I tell you, I left the classroom when COVID hit, and I was like, oh, thank God. Because I know that's challenging. I do not envy you, but I think everyone should be involved as best as they can, especially, and I want to help you out. Books, we typically have more books. Last year, I had 7 sets of books that weren't picked up. And we have great books this year. We have our author, this is staying in the back. This is Heather Dew McAdam. She's the author and documentarian that you are going to see in this, or you're going to hear from this in a few minutes. She's going to sign all of her 50 books. She's looking forward to that. This is a great book on Ravensbrück by Sarah Helm. It's a light read, as you can tell. So I had someone ask me last year. They said, "Can't you get us e-readers?" Yeah, sure. That sounds great. I said, but I have to get the state to pay for that. The state won't pay for that. So I would love to be able one day, if I find a generous benefactor, any one of you, I know you're all teachers, super flooded with money, to buy everyone an e-reader. That would be great and ideal. And maybe one day we will actually be able to get that. The bigger we get, the more chance there is that I can get funding to actually do that. Because I would love to be able to have you come back each year and add books to your e-reader. That would be fantastic. But right now, we have to do it old school style and kill a tree. Rescuers, this is Heroines, Rescuers, Rabbis, and Spies. This is a great little book that actually has some wonderful stories in it that are easy to read. It's very accessible. Most of these books are kind of written for you to edify yourself. Not all of them are written in such a way that you can use in your class because I always worry about what I can give you to use in your class, rightfully so. Hitler's Furies is actually a really good book. This is by Wendy Lauer. This is looking at the perpetrator side of women during the Holocaust. There are some excerpts we will actually cover. Actually, Dr. Lauer had to bow out of coming, so we have a couple of other speakers who are going to be joining us from Northwestern. But I have a couple of activities that we'll use that I'll show you that are really wonderful that go with segments from this book. The Ravine is also a great read as well. And again, I always love feedback. I have a couple of you who are really great at reading the books and telling me how horrible they were afterwards. So please let me know. I had one where I had someone who wrote a book. Sorry for that. I'm going to make sure there's nothing happening. Make sure online that you can hear me. Last year, I think someone had a wireless device on or something that was cutting into the signal. And what I will do is I'm actually going to unplug this. But nobody online can hear me. So that's what works like this. It's gonna look weird that I'm using the microphone right now. And I'm thinking I think I was getting feedback from my laptop. It's still talking. Sorry. Real quick, this is also a really great book. It's an older book called Women and the Holocaust. It's an older book, but it's very detailed. It's very powerful. It's a big read. It's kind of a lot to process and a lot to get through. However, those of you that can use it and can pull segments out of it, I think you'll find it really useful. And that is it. I'm going to turn this off real quick. There we go. That sounds better. Okay, next slide we got here. Okay, so everyone who's online, let's talk about the icebreaker discussion. I would like everyone who's online in person, what we're gonna do is online, we're gonna put you in breakout groups just for about 5 minutes or so. Everyone who's at tables, I would like you to actually talk to the people who are around you about some of your answers that you gave during the icebreaker. Talk about the podcast, your thoughts on it. Is it useful? Is it something you can use in class or not? Please just discuss with people who are around you. If you're not familiar or you didn't have time to complete the assignment, feel free just to kind of gather information from people who are around you. Other than that, what we'll do is, Kayla, if you could please put everyone into breakout groups of 5 people, that would be fantastic. And I'll give you about 5 or 6 minutes to have a conversation. Introduce yourself also. Take this time to actually have an icebreaker, and hopefully you're sitting around people you don't know. Did she put them in breakout rooms?
So the share screen has been, for at least for the Zoom, it's been on the presentation mode.
Okay, she's doing it. I've got one other person. Steven. Yeah. So glad you're here.
Thank you.
So we're going to show the movie first. I've given people at home the link in case they have a Zoom issue with without a surgery. I'm going to show the movie. Show the movie. I wanted to talk. I'm going to show you what I've given. You can look through some things. If you want to get a copy of what I've done. I just wanted to. This is a walk-by spot. Oh, okay.
Stephen, here you go, unless you want me to hang on to it, but I think the flow has stopped.
Yeah, grab your make sure that they're seeing everything okay.
Just looking to see if anything pops up. Nothing yet. I'm checking both chats because there are some people in the Zoom chat too.
Okay, yeah. Tell the Zoom chat people to pop in to not do Zoom chat. Yeah, tell some people. I'm gonna tell. All right, we have. All right, we have about 1 more minute. 1 more minute to wrap things up. 1 more minute. All right, we're going to go ahead and bring everyone back. Uh, yeah, I'll just be right here. I'm going to. All right, everybody. All right, we're coming back. Everybody. So, thank you all. I hope you all had some good discussions. So, if we could go around the room, someone could share what their thoughts were on this as a classroom activity, or post one of the questions, or what something you found interesting. I know, actually, I think some of you said that. Who has never heard of this podcast? One side, okay. Did you find it interesting, useful? Something you could possibly even use in a class, especially since it's hard to like use film or other things. No, use the user. Fantastic. Yeah, they're yeah. So it's really. By the way, everyone who's online, I'm going to try to reiterate what I can, just because it's just going to be. Yeah. Also, and if you post it in the chat as well, just kind of like when you post a response, that'd be fantastic. Just because I don't want to handing the microphone around last year, I think was too much of a pain. Anybody?
So two things that we liked about the podcast was, number one, the length. It's only 16 minutes long, so that's accessible pretty much for everybody. And the girls in the podcast were teenagers, which is something that our students can relate to as well.
I like that. Very much so. Anybody else want to share? Sasha? Anybody else want to share?
Feels for it, but as Amy reiterated, it wasn't this loud, showy thing. It wasn't this really like look at me resistance. It was very quiet, but it was something that was done with deliberation over a prolonged period of time. Like they kept chipping away at it little by little each day. And that's very interesting because when you think of resistance, you think of somebody like standing in front of the tanks, you know? It's a very quiet form of resistance. And that was very, I thought, compelling.
Yeah, so on that, what does that say about resistance and how you teach it? You know, as far as especially when it comes to the Holocaust. Mitch?
Well, one observation that came up for
were probably more likely to resist during the Holocaust when you look at the whole group of resistors altogether. And there are probably some reasons for that, but I think it's really good for kids in the classroom to see that you don't have to wait until you're older to resist injustice. You can do it now. And in some ways, you're actually got more freedom of action as a teen than you would later, like when you're a parent or you have employment. And these kids showed what was possible, even under the worst circumstances.
Just in case, if there's a long answer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the microphones at the tables. There's a button on the bottom. You just press it, it turns it on, but turn it off when we're done, just in case someone's got a. Bet you don't get this one. Just kidding. That's for Randy. I'm sorry. I'm causing grief. I apologize. God forgive me. Okay. So what I'd like for you guys to look at is in the session descriptions. That is on. If you're in Whova, okay, in the session description, there's a link in the description of the session in the agenda that says activity. I believe I put it as activity document. You click on it, it will actually take you to this document. This is going to be a living document, meaning I'm going to edit it on a daily basis and put new links in it. That is, it's now most of you have a lot of this stuff in your packets right here, but it should open up. And is anyone not seeing that? It's in the description. It's basically in the session description. So go to your agenda and then scroll to the bottom where you see the description of the session, where it says activity document. I actually made it in huge font, I very intentionally, because I was worried about this very thing. It says, so you go to the agenda, and then click on the session, and then scroll to the bottom. I'm going around to help. And anybody at the table that sees it, please. Okay, now click on the, click on, yes, there it is, that's it. So scroll down, or click on the session, not the meetup pre-work. Now go ahead, click on film screening, just click on that. Yep, open it up, just open the session and close that. Oh, you gotta put that in for going to the session. If you can, it's gonna force you to, now scroll down. Okay. Everyone, real quick. Ryan's going to come around and help. Everyone online having any problems? Okay. Okay. So in this document, you see what it says daily reflection log? At the end of the day, I'd like you to complete a daily reflection log. You'll select the speaker. This is primarily for the activities and for the speakers. You'll select a speaker, and they'll actually create one for each session. Basically, mainly it actually tells you which sessions. You should have one for every session in the reflection log. Just do it at the end of the day. What we'd like to know is, one, were the activities helpful? Two, were the speakers engaging? Was this what you wanted to hear? Was this useful in your classroom? And also, do you have any feedback? Because we'd like to actually have this set up as something that you want to come back to each year and actually change it up every year. So there's a reason to come back, and we're not covering the same thing. I typically don't ever have the same speakers year after year, although this year I brought back Dr. Freeman. But I try to get different speakers every year, so we have something different going on, so there's a reason to come back each year. If you scroll down on this document here, keep going down. This is the 999 viewing document link. Okay, so this is your instructions for today, and I'll try to make them as explicit as possible. You're going to click on the viewing guide. Those of you who are in person, you will not need to do this. You actually have this in your packet. This is a viewing guide. This is just to make sure you're actively viewing. This could be something that if you choose to show the 999 in your classroom, that you could use it as a viewing guide. It has marked time and questions to think about for consideration. What I want you to do is just watch the film, take your notes. There's timestamp sections, and look at the key quotes and themes and a set of reflection questions. Do not complete the educator task portion at the very end. We're going to do that later on as one of our, after Heather speaks. Okay, we're going to do that after. It's the very last section of the viewing document. Do not complete that. We're going to have some discussion questions and other things, but that's how we're going to start this. Anybody any questions? And online, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself, or if they're, you should be able to unmute themselves if you have any questions. Does anybody online have any feedback or any thoughts about the prompt from this morning or anything going on right now? If you have anything, please feel free to interject, or if you have any issues or technical concerns, pop it into the chat or unmute yourself, and we'll be happy to help you. By history. Her work has been featured in the National Geographic, The Guardian, The New York Times, and NPR. She's also the director of the Rella and Sem Fund for the Advancement of Holocaust Education, and her dedication to survivor testimony and historical truth is as powerful as it is personal. The 999 is more than a book. It is a call to remember, to bear witness, and to ensure that the stories of these young women are not lost again. Please help me welcome Heather Dune McAdam.
Stephen, thank you. Thanks, everybody. It's great to be here. There's no sound. Oh, great. Hi, online people. I don't know where you are, but it's like speaking to heaven or something. God, you've already, I mean, I barely had coffee. So I don't know how you guys are feeling right now. I just wanted to address a couple things because this film was, and my work was highly influenced by some of the books that Stephen mentioned. I know Sarah Helm, who wrote Ravensbrück, and when I was reading Sarah's book, she mentioned something to me that you won't see really covered in the film because it's too complicated, but it's an entire chapter in my book. And that was that Heinrich Himmler ordered 999 coppos from Ravensbrück 2 weeks before the first transport, or 3 weeks. And those so they were German prisoners, political, prostitution, murderers, whole range of things. And there were also some Jehovah's Witnesses. And they were sent to Auschwitz on the same day as the girls, the Jewish girls. And it was that number. Himmler was a control freak, and he was very, very into the occult. And I was reading another friend's book called Hitler's Monsters, and I was reading about the astrology that the joke at the end of World War II is if you wanted to know what Himmler was going to do, you checked with his astrologer. So everything was going through his astrologer. Meanwhile, astrologers were being put into concentration camps because they thought it was so powerful that if you weren't on the side of the Nazis, you were going to a concentration camp. So I saw that number and I was like, what's that mean? Because I know a little bit about numerology, and I know that 9 means the end of something because it's going to double digit 10. And I began to do research, and it was like, I don't know how many of you are researchers, but you get sort of like, like hair on the back of your neck. That's what I got. And I just had this gut feeling that the number was constructed by Himmler. And so there's a chapter in the book that does that, and I had no idea if it was going to work. It was really sort of going out on a limb. But through the research, I think I did it. And one of the creepiest things you will see covered in the film, I mean, the day of the transport is astrologically significant. It is really complicated. I had a historical astrologer unpack it for me, but 999 is Heinrich Leopold Himmler in numerology as well. Eek, creepy, right? So I love Sarah, great researcher, this book actually was very helpful in my next book, Star-Crossed, which is about the first transport of French Jewish women who arrived on June 22nd, 1942. So my research is I really focus on women, 1942, Auschwitz, because so many people don't understand that that women were the first Jews constructed transports sent to Auschwitz. The first 4 transports to Auschwitz were Jewish women. And there were there was one transport in between from France of political French Jewish prisoners. Then they started opening it up to young men. They were all coming from Slovakia. I'll be in Slovakia actually on Friday, where we're doing premieres all over the country. And it is this idea, oh, there's the camera, hi. Sorry, I don't want to forget you. So, as a young woman, as a teenager, as somebody who grew up feeling largely like a second-class citizen and not nearly as important as the boys and the guys, it really offends me that history has passed over these young women. And I mean, you can look at the Holocaust Encyclopedia and there'll be a timeline and it will say the first transport on March 26, 1942 arrives in Auschwitz. Everybody knows it, but it doesn't say it was 999 young women. Most of them were teenagers. So my big question is, why? Why don't we know this? Why aren't they important to history? And I can't tell you how many times I've said to survivors, I've interviewed 8 of them from the first transport, how does it feel to be historically important? And they slough it off. They don't feel that they are. And I look at them constantly and say, you are. I'm going to cry. We have, today, there are 2 survivors still alive. One is in New York. I saw her a couple weeks ago, just before Passover. And I took her some chocolate-covered macaroons and a little white chocolate bunny, which I said, I bet you've never had a chocolate Easter bunny. She loved it. And some camellias from my garden. And she is Judith. You'll see her in the film, Judith Middleman. She's wonderful. Every time she sees me, she gets tears in her eyes and gives me a big hug. She goes, it's like, and then there's one more in Israel. She's not in the film. I did interview her, but she was starting to go. And both of those women are turning 100 this year. Yeah. And it is, I'm excited to introduce you to my girls. I will say, one of the questions I get a lot is, I'll tell you how I came into it later, but, how come I was able to interview these women? And I will say that I felt like my teenage girl was interviewing their teenage girl. Doesn't matter where we were from, what our culture, what our background, we come together as women who have been through some tough stuff. And I'm a good listener. And pretty much I just shut up and listen. And occasionally, actually, somebody in Toronto came up to me and she said, I would tell you my story because you won't ask any questions. And I went, you are right. You know, I'm here to listen. That's my job. And it is a huge honor to work with educators because you guys are the front line. You know, you are, especially these days. I know it's tough out there, and I just, having been an educator, I miss being in the classroom. I miss working with young people. I need more coffee, and helping forge the next generation of thinkers, because that's what we need, especially if we are to create a world that isn't going down the rabbit hole that it's going down right now. So, yeah, I look forward to chatting, and welcome to my world.
Okay, everybody who's online, go ahead and, Kayla, go ahead. You're going to close out this Zoom, save this Zoom up, and then we're going to launch it into the next session. So if you're online, you'll need to go into the next session if you're online. And also, if you want to be able to see the